my screen. I hope you all are able to see, right?
Yes,
Yes,
very able
mummy.
to see Mataji.
Yeah, thank you. So, okay, so we have discussed so far from 227 Bhagavad Gita. We are in the second chapter named Content of the Gita Summarized. And yesterday, Pyare Prabhu has discussed two words. Previous to that was Jatasya Dhruva Mritu Dhruva Janma Nitasya Cha. And Natha Chenam Nitya Jatam, the previous to that. So before we start the verse, Krishna has spoken till 224 about the soul. He described the different characteristics of the soul, and from 2.25 verse, he started taking the turn, and he says, even if you don't believe. So that series is going on from 225, and it will continue until 230 verse. So let us recite today's verse. अव्यक्तादीनि भूतानि
व्यक्तदीनि भूतानि
व्यक्तादीनि भूतानि
व्यक्तामध्यानि भारतः
व्यक्तमध्यानि भारत
अव्यक्तानिधानानि एव
अव्यक्तनिधनान्येव
तत्र का परिदेवेन
तत्र
का
परिदेवेन
अव्यक्तादीनि भूतानि
अव्यक्तदीनि भूतानि
व्यक्तमध्यानि भारत
व्यक्तमध्यानि भारत
अव्यक्तः निधानानि एव
अव्यक्तनिधनान्येव
तत्र का परिदेवेन
तत्र परिदेवेन
अव्यक्तादीनि भूतानि
अव्यक्तदीनि भूतानि
व्यक्तमध्यानि भारत
व्यक्तमध्यानि भारत
अव्यक्ता निधनानि एव
अव्यक्तनिधनान्येव
तत्र का परिदेवेन
तत्र परिदेवेन
anyone wants to recite
अव्यक्तदीनि भूतानि
अव्यक्तादीनि भूतानि
व्यक्तमध्यानि भारत
व्यक्तमध्यानि भारत
अव्यक्तनिधनानि एव
अव्यक्तनिधनान्येव
तत्र का परिदेवेन
तत्र का परिदेवना
अव्यक्तादीनि भूतानि
अव्यक्तादीनि भूतानि
व्यक्तमध्यानि भारत
व्यक्तमध्यानि भारत
अव्यक्तनिधानानि एव
अव्यक्तनिधनान्येव
तत्र का परिदेवना
तत्र का परिदेवना अव्यक्तादीनि भूतानि
अव्यक्तादीनि भूतानि
व्यक्तमध्यानि भारत
व्यक्तमध्यानि भारत
अव्यक्तनिधनान्येव
अव्यक्तानिधनानि एव
तत्र का परिदेवना
अव्यक्तादीनि भूतानि
अव्यक्तादीनि भूतानि
व्यक्तमध्यानि भारत
व्यक्तमध्यानि भारत
अव्यक्तनिधानि एव
अव्यक्तनिधनान्येव
तत्र का परिदेवना
तत्र का परिदेवना
Go ahead.
It's okay, Mataji, you can go.
Avyaktadini bhutani
अव्यक्तादीनि भूतानि
vyaktamadhyani bharata
व्यक्तमध्यानि भारत
avyaktanidhanani eva
अव्यक्तनिधनान्येव
tatra ka paridevana
तत्र का परिदेवना
अव्यक्तादीनि भूतानि
अव्यक्तादीनि
adini
भूतानि
bhutani
व्यक्तमध्यानि भारत
व्यक्तमध्यानि भारत
अव्यक्तनिधानानि एव
अव्यक्तनिधनान्येव
तत्र का परिदेवना
तत्र
तत्र
का
का
परिदेवना
हेलो अव्यक्तादीनि भूतानि
अव्यक्तादीनि भूतानि
व्यक्तम् मधानि विद्यानि भारत
व्यक्तमध्यानि भारत
एवम्
व्यक्तनिधनानि एव
तत्र का देवता तत्र का परिदेवता
तत्र का परिदेवना
Okay. So we'll recite the word to word. Avyakta adhini.
अव्यक्त आदिनि.
In the beginning, unmanifested.
In the beginning, unmanifested.
Bhutani.
Bhutani.
All that are created.
All that are created.
Vyakta.
Vyakta.
Manifested.
Manifested.
Madhyani.
Madhyani.
In the middle.
In the middle.
Bharata.
Bharata.
O descendant of Bharata.
O descendant of Bharata.
Bharata.
Avyakta.
Avyakta.
Non-manifested.
Non-manifested.
Nidanani.
Nidanani.
When vanquished.
When vanquished.
Eva.
Eva.
It is all like that.
It is all like that.
Tatra.
Tatra.
Therefore. Ka. What? Paridevena.
Paridevana.
Lamentation. So I'll read the translation purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. All created beings are unmanifest in their beginning, manifest in their interim state, and unmanifest again when annihilated. So what need is there for lamentation? Purport. Accepting there are two classes of philosophers, one believing in the existence of the soul and the other not believing in the existence of the soul. There is no cause for lamentation in either case. Non-believers in the existence of the soul are called atheistic by followers of Vedic wisdom. Yet even if, for the argument's sake, we accept this atheistic theory, there is still no cause for lamentation. Apart from the separate existence of the soul, the material elements remained unmanifested before creation. From this subtle state of non-manifestation comes manifestation. Just as from ether, air is generated, from air, fire is generated, from fire, water is generated, and from water, earth becomes manifested. From the earth, many varieties of manifestations takes place. Take, for example, a big skyscraper manifested from the earth. When it is dismantled, the manifestations become again unmanifested and remains as atom in the ultimate stage. The law of conservation of energy remains, but in course of time, things are manifested and unmanifested. That is the difference. Then, what cause is there for lamentation either in the stage of manifestation and in unmanifestation? Somehow or other, even in the unmanifested state, things are not lost. Both at the beginning and at the end, all the elements remain unmanifested, and only in the middle are they manifested. And this does not make any real material difference. And if we accept the Vedic conclusion as stated in the Bhagavad Gita, that these material bodies are perishable in due course of time, antavata ima deha, but that the soul is eternal, nityashukta sharirena, then we must remember always that the body is like a dress. Therefore, while lament the changing of a dress, the material body has no factual existence in relation to the eternal soul. It is something like a dream. In a dream, we may think of flying in the sky or sitting on a chariot as a king. But when we wake up, we can see that we are neither in the sky nor seated on the chariot. The Vedic wisdom encourages self realization on the basis of the non existence of the material body. Therefore, in either case, whether one believes in the existence of the soul or does not believe in the existence of the soul, there is no cause for lamentation for loss of the body. So I don't know, I have one chat. Okay. Okay. So I'll stop here and I'll read the translation one more time. So this verse speaks about unmanifest and manifest states of the living being, like as if we think that there is no soul in the body. So I'll read: all created beings are unmanifest in their beginning, manifest in their interim state, and unmanifest again when annihilated. So what need is there for lamentation? So in this verse, let us try to understand what Prabhupada is saying and what Krishna is saying here. So Prabhupada is saying that there are two classes of philosophers. One is who are the follower of the Vedas, and according to the Vedic wisdom, definitely there is a existence of the soul, right? That is in starting of the Bhagavad Gita, from when Krishna started speaking in second chapter, he's saying to Arjuna, "Sochan anma sochastam." So you are cause your lamentation is caused, but it is not a cause of lamentation, because he says different examples he gives in different verses, because the soul is eternal, soul cannot be killed in any from any of the weapon. We have discussed all these words in our couple of last classes. Here Prabhupada is saying that one who believes a soul, okay, but what Krishna has taken a turn in Bhagavad Gita 2.25 is, okay, if you don't believe, and if you believe, as Pyare Prabhu was mentioning yesterday, if you believe that the soul, that the body is, there is no soul and the body is just a combination of chemical, right? So who is the person who start crying or lamenting on just the loss of some bulk of chemicals, right? Even in laboratory, we waste so much of chemical. Even in the wars, they do so much of chemical use, and who just lament on the loss of some chemical. That's what he mentioned. And similar theme is here. Other type of philosophers who doesn't believe the existence of the soul, then also there is no cause of lamentation. But is the argument Krishna is presenting here? Because we know all this material element, right? There are 24 material element, like 5 sense object, then 5 senses, and then 5 gross elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether. These all consist 24 material element, including false ego, intelligence, and mind. These are the material elements. First, they are in the Mahatattva. With the agitation, when the glance of Mahavishnu is on them, then they start forming, these manifestation becomes. But what happens when at the end of the Brahma? So there are two types of pralaya or destruction that happens. One at the end of the Brahma, the Brahma's lifetime, that is 100 year, but not based on our earthly calculation. We know Brahma's 12 hour is very, very long. So if we just take a look back, the life of the Kali Yuga, I think, is around 4,32,000 years. If you multiply it by 2, that will be around 8 lakh something, right? 64,000. That is the age of the Upper Yuga. Then 3 times of 432, that is around 12 or 13 lakh. Will be the age of Treta Yuga, and then Satya Yuga is 4 times. So if you include all these, if you add all these age, and then that is called one Mahayuga. And I think he has, please correct me if I'm wrong, I think he has 71 Yuga cycle in 12 hours of him. I think in 12 hours of, you can correct me because I have not referred it recently. So that is the very, very big, very, very long time. For one day of Brahma is very, very long. It seems to be, for us it will be like an eternity, because it's very, very long, we cannot even imagine. So at the end of Brahma's day, when the destruction happens, then all the jivas that are not made back home, back to Godhead, that definitely wind up there. They get inside the body of Mahavishnu. Then they will be in their unmanifest state. They only. So here, what Krishna is trying to explain, that there is either no cause of lamentation, because these material elements, they are manifest for certain time. In between, in the starting, they were unmanifested. In between, there is some time. Let's say if we talk about ourselves, right? How many of us will think that If we talk about adults, like 30, 40 years, we won't be here, right? I won't be here, and most of us won't be here. If we talk about 40 years, this form of our, which is manifested today, it will not be there if we add 40 years to our life. Most of us. So that in the middle, right, in some point of time, that has been manifest, and it will again unmanifest, because I will be existing as a soul, but this form, material body, won't be. It will be unmanifest. That's what Krishna is trying to explain Arjuna, that even if you think that I mean, actually he said Mahabhav. Yesterday we also had a question that Mahabhav doesn't simply means a great warrior. Mahabahu, why Krishna is saying? Because he knows that at least you are not the supporter of this atheistic philosophy, that there is no soul. That's why Krishna encourages, in yesterday's word says Mahabahu, because you follow the Vedic wisdom. So you know the existence of the soul. But even if you do not consider, then it is manifested for certain time, and it will again get unmanifested. For after. And Prabhupada also gives the example. If you see here, he gives the example of the big skyscraper building. So earth, right, with the earth material, this big skyscraper building has been manifested. But what happened when it get dismantled? Okay, let's say earthquake came or something, or somebody break the building. So all the material element, it will be again, will be mixed with the earth. So that, that though no building was there, but it is manifested for certain time, and it was unmanifested, then it manifests, and then again it became unmanifested. And Prabhupada also talks about the law of conservation of energy. So energy remains same. Energy can either be lost, right? There is a law of conservation where we say that this energy always remains same, either in this form or in that form. It never lost. That's called the law of conservation of energy. Also, Prabhupada has talked about like these earth, water, Krishna says, right? Earth, water, fire, air, ether. These are his separated energy, he says in 7.4 in Bhagavad Gita. So what happens if you see, so ether is a space or the sky, right? From ether, air is generated. If you see, air is the ether is more subtler than the air. We cannot see the, I mean, we cannot touch the space, right? We cannot feel the space. But air, if you see, we cannot see the air, but we can feel, right? That's how we take the breathing and our life going on. But air is there, but we cannot see it, but we can touch the air, right? We can feel the air. And from air, fire is generated. It is more grosser, so it goes more grosser, so it's relative. So fire you can see, right? Fire has a form. So and that way, from fire, water is generated. Water has a taste also, like it has all the other other characteristic as fire has, but it has one more, that it has a taste also. So and that's how then earth is manifested. So it's going, as Prabhupada is mentioning, from the subtle state of non-manifestation come manifestation. And he gives the example of this creation of this, how these five elements have become manifested from one to another. So that's how that manifestation takes place. And again, we have to also discuss the example of the skyscraper building that Prabhupada has mentioned here. And also, if you see in the second paragraph, Prabhupada is saying that, if we believe that there is a soul, right? The two types of philosophers. So if we believe, then we should remember that verse. Vashamshi jirnani yatha vihaya navani grinnati naroparani tata sharirani vihaya jirnani anyani samyati navani dehi. So what does that verse says? This is just the dress. As your dress get older, right? Does you lament, or we may lament if it is our favorite dress, but not like if we lose some person, right? So we'll just get a new dress. So we have used it, it got torn, we just use. So similarly, Krishna gives an example. As the person change a dress, when the dress is the old and useless one, people don't even wait for that. They just change, like if they don't like it, they just throw it away and change it. So but if it is old and torn one, definitely we cannot wear, so we just change it. Similarly, at the time of death, what happens? Souls take a new body. That will happen. Jata se dhruva mrityu. So that definitely will happen. So why to lament? Why to lament just changing of the dress? And I would also like to take a little bit Like if you see that Prabhupada just yeah. So here it has been mentioned the Vedic wisdom encourages self-realization on the basis of the non-existence of the material body. Can somebody tell me what does this line means? Like can they give their reviews? Because I can see your material body, you can see mine. So why is Prabhupada saying here that Vedic wisdom encourages self-realization on the basis of non-existence of material body? Any thoughts here, please?
Somebody is raising the hand.
I don't know, is that
Is that
Tulsi?
Tulsi?
Yes, we'll see.
I wanted to say which you mentioned about the verse. So I wanted to say that the Krishna is saying when the dress is old, we throw, and similarly, when the body get dead, the soul changes the body.
Okay, thank you. So does anybody want to add on my line where it is mentioned that non-existence of the material body? Any thoughts anybody's getting?
Maybe because just like it is there, but it is not permanent. Like in the Bible, it says from ashes to ashes, dust to dust. When you
Yes.
bury the body or the cremate the body, it goes
Mhm.
back to dust and ashes. So it's not permanent. So in that sense, it is not non-existent because it's not a permanent thing. It's temporary.
Yes,
That's my
Mataji.
take on it.
Yes, Mataji, thank you for adding that. Yes. So Prabhupada also gives thank you for adding that. So Prabhupada also gives the example of the dream, right? In the dream, everybody of us have a dream experience, right? If we see dream, so we sometimes we see good dreams. So we think that, suddenly if our alarm, today morning it happened with me. So I was in some dream and my alarms, early morning, my alarm, ringed, and then I was thinking, oh, I was supposed to be in their team, it was so nice. And you try to go back, right? You try to close your eyes, but you're never gonna be going to that particular dream, right? It never happens because it's at that time your subtle body has taken into the gross body and you are wandering here and there, and you think it is completely real, right? Sometimes you might have think if you are seeing a very horrible dream, you will wake up like as you are very much afraid, right? And if you are in a very very pleasant situation or whatever you like, you see, and then you will be thinking, okay, this dream should continue, and you will be happy, smiling, woke up, oh, I saw this, very very nice, and maybe your guru maharaj or anything, whatever, but whatever your mind thinks of. So that is what happens, right? So that dream is seems to be real, definitely real. I don't remember that I am sleeping on my bed, or you don't remember that you're sleeping on the bed. You are thinking that you are there in that particular situation, correct? Either it's a horrible or a good dream. So similarly, this is also the dream like situation for us also. This current material body is a dream like situation because it is there, but it is from eternity point of view doesn't exist. So that's the reason it has been spoken about the non-existence of the material body. Even if it doesn't understand the futility of the material body, then there is no impetus for us to progress in the spiritual life. Also, I would like to share some points I have written from seventh canto, and I'll just first share my screen, and then we can take turn to read that, and that way it will be very nice to conclude this verse from these points. I hope you are able to see my screen.
Yes, we can see Mataji.
Yeah. So this is from the seventh canto, second chapter, where Hiranyaksh died. Varahadev has killed Hiranyaksh, and Hiranyakashipu is trying to console his sister-in-law. So let us read one by one. I would need maybe at least 3 volunteers to read that. If anybody would like to read, please let me know so that.
Can I read?
Okay, Tulsi. Who else wants to read?
I can read Mataji after Tulsi.
Okay, Tulsi, Kirti, and let me know if anybody else is also interested. Tulsi, can you read this text 20? Are you able to see it?
Yes.
Okay.
Hiranyakashipu said, "My dear mother, sister-in-law, and nephews,
Nephews.
nephews, you should not lament for the death of the great hero, for a hero's death in front of his enemy and
His glorious.
his glorious and desirable."
Okay. Yes, go ahead, Kirti.
My dear mother, in a restaurant or place for drinking cold water, many travelers are brought together, and after drinking water, they continue to their respective destinations. Similarly, living entities join together in a family and later, as a result of their own actions, they are led apart to their destinations.
Okay, so as we read two verses, right? So here Hiranyakashipu is trying to console because all the his mother and all the queen, they were crying, and all his sons or daughter of Hiranyaksha, they were crying. So what he's saying, you should not lament, because he has fought, and he has. Uh, he has done a glorious strength that is desirable, and he's also say to his mother that, like in a restaurant, if we go, of course our devotee don't go, but let's say in a restaurant people go, or a place of drinking cold water people go, they travel together, but after drinking water or after having their respective journey, let's say in the train they are going, so from Delhi to Mathura they're going, so they will be, some people are going to Mathura, some people may be going to some other place, so they'll be there for certain time, and then they spend their time, and then they just say hi and bye, that's it, right? So similarly, we all living entity, according to our different karma, we have stick together, we have came together in a certain family, in a certain situation, by the result of our action of our own karma. And after this, after our body, as I said, right, 30-40 years if we add, we won't be here. So maybe less than that, I'm just giving an average example. So they are led apart to their destination. That's why Hiranyakashipu is saying to them. Okay, text 27, want to read?
Hare Krishna Mataji, can I read?
Can I read next?
Yes, please. 27, Chaitanya.
In this regard, an example is given from an old history. This involves a discourse between Yamraj and the friends of a dead person. Please hear it attentively.
Chaitanya.
In the state known as Ushinara, there was a celebrated king named Suyagnya. When the king was killed in battle by his enemies, his kinsmen sat down around the dead body and began to lament the death of their friend.
As the queens loudly cried, their tears glided down their breasts, becoming reddened by kumkuma powder, and fell upon the lotus feet of their husband. Their hair became disarrayed, their ornaments fell, and in a way that evoked sympathy from the hearts of others, the queens began lamenting their husband's death.
Okay, Tulsi, raise your hand. You want to read?
Yes. The
Okay.
time was appropriate for the body to be burned, but the queen's not allowing it to be taken away. Continued lamenting for the dead body, which they kept on their lap. In the meantime, the sun completed its movements for setting in the west.
Okay. So what we discussed so far, that now Hiranyakashipu is giving an example from the old history, and that he says that please hear it attentively, that discourse happened between a Yamraj and the friends of a dead person. That's what he's saying. So he's saying in the state Ushinara, there was a celebrated king named Suyagna. So this king, what happened, he went to the war, and in the war he has been killed by his enemies. So what happened now, on his dead body, king's men around his dead body, and they began to lament. So his queens are also loudly cried, it has been mentioned they were, their tears were gliding down their cheeks and they were unable to control their emotions. And, their hair scattered, their ornament fell, and they were, very, very much lamenting on their husband's death. So here it has been mentioned, but the body need to be burned now. The person has been gone, right? This is just a body. That's what we have to understand. Then this is just the body, and then the time was appropriate for the burning, but the queens were not allowing to take the body away. So and they their lamentation continued for the dead body, which they kept on their lap, and it was about a sunset time. So who want to go next? Text 36.
I can read, Mataji.
Sure.
While the queens were lamenting for the dead body of the king, their loud cries were heard even from the abode of Yamaraj. Assuming the body of a boy, Yamaraj personally approached the relatives of the dead body and advised them as follows.
37. Anybody wants to read? Okay, Sri Yamraja said, Alas, how amazing it is. These persons who are older than me have full experience that hundreds and thousands of living entities have taken birth and died. Thus, they should understand that they also are apt to die, yet still they are bewildered. The conditioned soul comes from an unknown place and return after death to the same unknown place. There is no exception to this rule which is conducted by material nature. Knowing this, why do they do useless lament? The boy addressed the woman. O weak woman, only by the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is never diminished, is the entire world created, maintained, and again inhalated. This is the verdict of the Vedic knowledge. This material creation consists of the moving and non-moving, is exactly like playing things, being the Supreme Lord. He completely competent to destroy and protect. Let me see who's okay, Tulsi. Okay, Mataji. Just let me just explain this and then you can go ahead. Okay, so now now what happened? These queens were lamenting on the dead body, right? So let me go a little up. So here the body, it was a time to burn the body, but these queen was not letting the body to be burned. Can everybody please go on mute? So what happened now? They were so loudly crying that this was heard in till the abode of the Yamraja. So Yamraja took a boy form and he came and he personally approached his relative. So what he's saying here, alas, how amazing it is. This person, because he has assumed the maybe form of a 5-year-old boy, and he went and he's saying, okay, all these people are older in age and have full experience, right? Because Ahani Ani Bhutani, yesterday also Pyare Prabhu was mentioning that what is the amazing thing in this world, that all the countless number of living entities are going to the abode of Yamraj, but they think that okay, they are enjoying their life. They doesn't think that that will happen to them also. So have full experience that the hundreds and thousands of living entity take birth and die. They take birth in the material body. Of course, living entity doesn't die, but in that particular form they manifest. And then they unmanifest. Thus, they should understand that they are also, he meant to say that you are trying to cry for this dead body. The person has already been gone. You should know that your death is around the corner. And you should do something about that instead of uselessly crying for a dead body. And he's saying they are yet they are bewildered. So he's explaining, the conditioned soul comes from an unknown place and then it went to the unknown place. That is the nature law. There is no use of lamentation, because actually they have not seen that person itself. They have seen the body of the person, but the soul, the person itself has not been seen by them. Okay, so did we read yeah, this one we read already. So the boy addressed the woman, oh weak woman, only by the will of the, only by the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is never diminished, is the entire word is created. First the word is created, creation happened, then it is maintained by Vishnu, and then again it is annihilated. I've already said two type of destruction happens, once in a day of Brahma and once after 100 years of his life. So that is the verdict of the Vedic knowledge. So this material creation consists of the moving and non-moving, is exactly like the plaything. So it is like a plaything, as we know, right? When somebody goes to the beach and their kids go, so they started building the sand castle, but at the sunset, the father says, okay, come back, now it's the time to go home. Similarly happen, because at the time of death, we don't know that we cannot even get a single minute to stay in this body. There is a particular time that has been given for us in this body. So that time, when it is up, it is up. We cannot say we need one moment. And Prabhupada also talks about, I think in Bhagavad Gita, he says that one person, he was saying to physician, to the doctor, that you increase my life for 4 years. I have some unfinished plan, but that is a useless fellow, do not know that the kala, the time doesn't wait for anybody. So every rising or the setting of the sun, our lives one day is being decreasing, so we are moving closer to our death. Like from this manifest form in this body, we become unmanifest. Okay, so Sunita Mataji, you can read the last text and then we can conclude this verse.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Every conditioned soul receives a different type of body according to his work. And when the engagement is finished, the body is finished. Although the spirit soul is situated in subtle and gross material bodies in different forms of life, he is not bound by them, for he is always understood to be completely different from the manifested body. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So here it is saying this conditioned soul, we receive the different kind of bodies. We are not this body. As how many? I mean, every one of us have different number of pairs of the cloth, right? How many? We'll have more, right? So the similarly, souls get a different type of body. Countless number of body we have received in this material world, and that Janma Mrityu, that cycle of birth and death is continuously going on. So here it has been mentioned that the spirit soul is completely different actually from this God material body. It's not bound by them, but right now as a punishment, this body has been given to us. But instead of getting the animal body or any other form of body, beast or bird body, or tiger or polar bear, fish, or so many body. Yesterday, Pyare Prabhu was talking about different type of bodies. When you're this too, you get this body, that body. So like, and how we get a different dress, a sari, a suit, or a jeans, a pant, or how many types of dresses, lehenga or ghagra, choli, like these type of. So these type of different type of, as we have to different type of dress, so similarly we get the different type of material body as a dress for our soul. And then, but we are not bound by this, only that we have to understand. Once we understand that, then there is no cause of lamentation. Okay, so just wanted to share this, and I would like to take a pause. This is what we had to discuss for this verse. So if anybody has anything to share, any comment, correction, realization, please go ahead.
So I have one question.
Sure, Mataji.
So you said even people who do not think there is a soul should not lament, because the materials will still be there, whether it's in a manifest state or unmanifest state.
Exactly.
But obviously we know they are foolish, because there is no such thing as no soul, right? So even though they foolishly think there is no soul, they must lament when they lose somebody, right? I mean, no matter what.
Yeah, they lament, but they don't understand. But the body is there, right? They should understand. They can see the person is right there, then why they're lamenting for that? So but they are not understanding. But because at Krishna's point of time, there are some philosopher exists, so Krishna is saying like that. But he already said Mahabahu to Arjuna, that because he is saying, okay, if you, at least you are not the supporter of this philosophy, but he's giving the different, he's taken a turn to tell him about this different material elements, and how if you think it's a combination of chemical, then again you have no lamentation. He's locking Arjuna from every point of view so that he don't give excuse to not to fight.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I can understand the logic, but it's really foolish
Yes, it
to
is
think
foolish,
that they won't
Mataji.
lament.
Yes.
Because I know people who are atheists, but when their sister dies or somebody else dies, they feel the loss. I mean, they
Yeah.
think I don't know where they think they went. They think they went into some nothingness, and just cease to exist. But at the same time, it seems really foolish to me because I see them lamenting.
Yeah, correct, Mataji.
They do recognize that person is gone and the dead body is still there, but I guess that's
Then again, also they don't think that something has been missed. So what is that has been missed?
yeah, I guess they're in such gross ignorance. What can be done?
Yes. Yeah, Mataji. Any comments on the verse? If Pyare Prabhu is there, if you would like to add anything for this verse.
Hare Krishna, Mummy.
Hare Krishna.
So I have a comment. So that I like the class and I liked you said that that we have. So I like that story which you told everyone the story of the husband and the queens were crying and took the lap their husbands.
Okay, thank you, Tulsi. So anybody else, Pyare Prabhu would like to add anything? We also have, I don't see him here. We also have Tulsi, something Tulsi will share with us. If you don't have any comment, then we can hear from Tulsi. So Tulsi, can you come? Give me just 1 second. I'll call her so that she can come and share. Yeah, Tulsi is here now.
Hare Krishna. So we'll start with the prayer. Om Jnanaatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Jakshurunminitanmaila Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Hare Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisham Gopikamta Radha Kanta Namosvate Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishibhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Thank you. We will do the I will take the blessings of all the simple Vaishnavas. So we today do Damodar Leela. One day, Madhuri Yashoda was churning butter on the Diwali day, and she was singing Krishna's song, and Krishna was sleeping in the other room. And then Krishna appeared before Mother Yashoda and stopped the churning rod. And then he was very hungry, and Mother Yashoda picked Krishna and was feeding her breast milk. Suddenly she realized that she had kept the milk on the stove. So she put down Krishna and went to the kitchen. So Krishna was not satisfied, and he broke all the butter part, and then he went to the other room and ate all the butter. And then Mother Yashoda came back and saw Krishna's small footprints, and then she followed them and she found Krishna. So she wanted to punish Krishna. So Mother Yashoda was running behind Krishna, and suddenly she caught, even though the yogis cannot catch him. So then Mother Yashoda was binding Krishna, but the rope was 2 fingers too short. And even though the gopis was giving the rope, but the rope was 2 fingers too short. Suddenly Krishna's Kripa Shakti let Mother Yashoda bind him. So Mother Yashoda went to her home, and then she was doing her household duty. And then Krishna was looking here and there, and he found 2 Arjuna trees, and then he was crawling, and the motor stuck between the 2 trees. So Krishna was pulling, and a big noise came, and 2 wonderful demigods came named Nalkuvera and Marigriva. And did they expect? And then Krishna said to them that you go to your kingdom. And then they offered their obeisances and went to the kingdom, their previous life. So one day, Nalkuvera and Manigriva were enjoying with the young girls. So then Narada Muni came, and they didn't Nalkuvera and Manigriva didn't cover, but the young ladies covered. So for teaching a lesson to Nalkuvera and Manigriva, Narada Muni gave them a curse that you become a tree, and that's how they were able to look Krishna. And so then I want to mention one thing, that Da means rope, Dar means belly, and we celebrate Kartik in the Kartik month, and we also sing this Damodar Ashtakam named Namamishwaram. So thank you, Hare Krishna. Anyone have any question or comment?
So who were Nalakuvera and Manigriva the sons of? Who were they? Whose sons were they?
Kuvera.
Oh, thank you.
Anyone else?
Okay, if not, no questions and comments, then we are ready to
Have the pose of Satrar Prabhu. I want to do the polls.
Rasaj Prabhu, you can share your quiz questions.
Okay.
But you, okay.
Oh, can I do this?
No, you cannot because
I
you're
want to
co-host.
do. I don't want to be a co-host then.
I love your dress, Tulsi.
Thank you, Mataji.
Okay, I will post the quiz.
Prabhuji,
again.
can you make us no co-host
Yes.
because I want to do the poll.
Okay. Today again it's a short quiz. You can answer. Here we go. Okay, we have 2 left. Okay, we will end the quiz here. There we go. So the first question is how many material elements are there? So it is 25 elements. Sorry, 24 elements. Then what is the age of Treta Yuga? So Kali, double Dwapar, triple Treta. So 1296. This is the correct answer. And what analogy is mentioned here? The body. Right? This is the skyscraper example analogy is given by Srila Prabhupada in this verse. Skyscraper, like how skyscraper manifest and destroy, like their body manifest and manifest. Thank you everyone for participating in the quiz. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you,
everyone.
Hare Krishna.
Vancha
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhaivacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Krishna ki jai.
Prabhupada ki
Tulsi ki jai.
Srimad Bhagavad Gita.
Prabhupada ki jai, not
Jai.
me. Prabhupada.
Hari Hari.